Jonty's death basically destroyed me. That's just what my life is like right now. The law remained the same. But it's on ride along. And I was like, what? The thing about life, my life in particular, I feel I like the facts. It makes me careless. They just see a gay guy. I had a child who was so loving. Him being gone is like I lost part of me. And then he has a way, sometimes when he laughs, he always like kind of put his hand in it. It makes you feel like, okay, you can kill somebody and get away with it. That's not the message you want to send.
Hello and welcome all. Today marks 1 year since Jonty Robinson's passing, and we are joined today by Lyndra Robinson, the mother of Jonty. Lyndra is here to speak about her son's injustice and shed light on various claims and accusations against herself and Jonty. Thank you for being here, Lyndra.
So I want to extend my gratitude, first of all, to Mr. Richard Nixon for organizing the GoFundMe page. That was very thoughtful. I want to extend my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to those who have donated in that GoFundMe page. I really appreciate you guys doing so, and thank you so very much. To the people who stood by me throughout this difficult time and still standing by me, I want to extend a great appreciation, a great thank you to them. So like Richard, I appreciate you. I thank you very much. Yvette Noel Shaw, you were a true mother to this child. You embrace him and you were there for him always. And after his passing, you stand by his mom. You take some shit for standing by his mom, but you stand, and I appreciate you for that. Yvette Noel Shaw, I appreciate you. I love you. I thank you very much. I had great support throughout this time, and I'm very grateful for it. Thank you, Uli. Thank you, Sarah. You and Sarah would have stepped in and put things together for the candlelight visual. You guys had plan ahead. You guys just put things together. So without you guys, I think my son would have been still there, because then I didn't know how am I going, I don't know how to do this, or what am I going to do? So I appreciate you guys so much. It's like you just don't know how things would happen, and then you have friends that would just step up for you and just be there for you and let things happen. But if these people weren't there to do what they do, what would have happened? The love, the support, I very much appreciate. I want to extend my gratitude and my appreciation to the special ed school, because my son has passed the age for school, but they would have taken him back like a couple days. But then because of what happened, they took him back like permanent. And the teachers at the special ed school with the principal has been so supportive. I just can't. It's like, I wish like these supports could have taken the pain away, because I received so much love and support from people that if it's helped, but if that could have like helped me heal faster or helped me take the pain away, it would have been just great. But I do appreciate them for that, especially Antoine and George, Miss Wilkinson. Miss Wilkinson would come and pick up Jane in the morning, take him to school, because sometimes I forget that I have to pick my child up from school because of, so they would take him for me. Antoine and George would take him. They would take him for like a weekend, just to help, give me a little break. The principal of that school has been a real strong support and help also, because she being the principal of the school, she was there for the candlelight visual. She read at the funeral. And she knew Jonty very well as well, because Jonty would often be at the school to pick his brother up, and then to, my stepkids. Oh my goodness. JD and Andrew. Oh my goodness. I love you guys. And I really appreciate you guys, because you guys accepting a mom like me, it means so much. My husband, oh my goodness.
Okay, it's okay.
Sorry, I just can't do this. I thought I could have done
React
this.
however you want to react.
Okay.
Look, you're fine.
To all the people who turned out for the funeral, who extended the sympathy up to till now, people would still meet me and extend the condolences to me and speak how wonderful my son was to them. Thank you guys so much for loving him, for the Queer Caribbean community, the Grand Shop community. Some of you would have reached out to Lacroix. Speaking of Lacroix, Miss Francis, I thank you so much for your patience with me. Oh my God, especially your patience with me to And throughout this whole time, the guy who did the tomb, he did a wonderful job, and he was very patient. Lako, I thank you for your service and patience. And those of you who would have reached out to Lako and asked for a discount for me, I thank you for that. So many thank you. What do I do with this? I do appreciate each and every one of you who would have extended your condolences. You would have helped in every way, any way that you would have helped. I thank you for that. But I really want to say to Uli, Yvette, Sarah, Betty, and Miss Olivia, the principal and the staff at the special education school, without you guys, I don't know how I would have managed that year, honestly, because you guys have been so supportive, so helpful, so caring, and just stand by me with all. I mean, Tony was one that would have stand by me wherever I go. Tony is there, and I appreciate him for that. Rain would have like come. I mean, I could never forget the day it was raining, like really, really storming rain. And then she showed up here at the house to help me sort out some stuff. And I appreciate you for that, because Jonty would always talk about that. Kati is one of Jonty, really close friend, and Jonty would have talked a lot about her as well. And I know how much he had loved her and how much she had loved him. Thank you guys to those of you who would have always showed up whenever I have an activity for Jonty. You guys would always show up. So Kati, you are one of them. Rain, you are one of them. Sarah, you are one of them. Uli, my Jonty crew. You guys know who you are. I really appreciate you guys for always standing there for me. JD, I love you. I appreciate you so much. And you would take the time off all the time to just come out here in this land just to be with me, because you know what it's like for me. I just want to hug you right now. Oh God, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love you so much and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lyndra, for sharing that. I know that many of you, all her supporters, Jonty's friends, I know that they will deeply, deeply appreciate your thank you. And I know that Jonty meant a lot to them. I know that they felt your heartfelt thank you, and I know that they're grateful for it. So we're going to get into the questions now. How are you?
How am I? Honestly, I don't know how am I, but I know I used to be so much better than I am now. I think I'm getting there, and that would have been the reason why I wanted to sit and do this interview in the first place, because I think it's time. I think I'm okay enough to have a clear enough head to speak about certain things and to highlight certain things. And you know, I always use the word I'm okay. That's just the easiest word to use. But I am doing better. So I am doing better.
You have to be grateful for that.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that. I'm very much grateful to my clients as well, because they have been very supportive throughout that time. They open their homes to me and welcome me in their family, and I become their family, and they help me through this. So I had to fight for the people who fight for me, the people that stand by me.
Some people struggle with eating or sleeping. How are you eating?
So my eating habits are so much better now. My sleeping is so much better now. For the first 6 to 10 months, I would say, because I only start sleeping better maybe about a couple months ago, like maybe 2 months ago. And then my eating habits just, start getting better and better. But for the first couple months, it was like I couldn't sleep. I would stay up all night. I just can't shut my eyes. And then I had to move away. Like I just have to just keep changing my space, because I'm thinking maybe the bedroom just have too much thoughts or whatever. And then, when you have to deal with a loss like this, it's difficult for you to eat, for you to sleep, because all you think about is what you have lost.
Yes.
And you get so lonely, you get so hard. So it's like food, life become not important anymore. Like that's not important, because it's like you lose, and it's just like a loss, but that emptiness doesn't feel like you need to refill. You just feel like you just want to, for me, I just want to cave into the memory and the whatever I was going through in my head. I just want to, if it was like on the wall, I just want to just direct myself into that wall and see if I would feel better. That's how it felt for me. So I couldn't eat properly for months. I couldn't sleep properly for months. And then I would get up and go, and I would just go to work and just continue on my day. And then I find myself having so much energy despite of that, and that it was just good. No eat, no sleep, and I just keep going.
Are you getting out of the house and engaging in your normal activities and hobbies?
So I get out, but I just work and then home. It's difficult. Still is very much difficult for my son, because my son Jade, sorry, because he is the one that missed out so much on life, because his mother is not in a position to do the things that she would want to do. So he always want to go to the beach because he's an outdoor person. He always want to go to the beach, and he always want to, and then I just want to stay in the house. But funny, there was a time period that I go through and I just couldn't come in the house. I just could not get in the house because
Did you feel closed in?
when I get here, it becomes harder for me. What I had to do is, like, I would go to Port Louis all the time. Thank you to my girls at Port Louis for hanging on to me throughout that time, and still do. Going there, I don't have to explain myself. The many time they see me, they would know, well, okay, so we have to make Lyndra happy. So they would say things and do things and just to cheer me up. And I would sit with them for like hours before I come home. And when I come home, I would just try to see if I can sleep. Most time I come home very drunk, of course, but that was normal thing, So, and then when I started accepting, okay, you gotta go home because there is things you need to do. There is another son you have to take care of. I would come home and then I would stay home, and I don't want to go out. So, the days I don't want to go to work, and then I would have to cancel work. That's why I appreciate my clients so much, because they're very patient and understanding with me. Yeah, so I find it's like I want to go out and do things that would, that would help, but at the same time, you don't have the motivation to do so,
Yeah. Okay. So that's where you are right now.
That's where I am.
And that's okay. How has Jonty's death and the subsequent handling of his case affected your family and the community around you?
Jonty's death basically destroyed me. It's I honestly didn't know how to act. I don't know if I was like, if I had gone, like, if I had a breakdown, or if I was normal. I just didn't know how. I honestly did not know myself. I didn't know who I was, what I was, whatever. So it took me a while before I actually accept that he actually, like, he was no longer here. I would have received the news the Sunday. The police would have come the Tuesday. They would have come to me the Tuesday to make
Give you the news.
to give me the news. They said, I asked a few questions, and then they said, based on what they could have told me, because there were so many things being said. So it's like, even though, like, everybody had the opinion of what would have went on, I was actually waiting for the police to say, because I would think in my head, they are the ones that have the experience to view, and they would have seen what happened, blah, blah, blah. So I trusted that they was
Gonna do their job.
Yeah, I was trusting that they, whatever they said, that's what actually would have happened. So I would have asked, was his body, was there any bruises or scar on his body indicating that he was beaten badly or stabbed or anything? And they was like, no, not that they are aware of. Then there was going to be an autopsy the next day to confirm what really happened. That first autopsy would have come out, and then he said it was inconclusive of drowning. That's the information I would have received. My family wasn't accepting that. They thought, no, that doesn't
sound right.
Yeah, that's not right. And there were people who would have viewing the photo, was giving their own view, and they was like, no, drowning is not that, your belly would have, and everybody giving their own view. So the second autopsy was done, and result would have come out and stating that he died of manual strangulation with a spinal fracture, something like that. I wanted to see him. Because I didn't get to see him. I didn't want to see him, because I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to face it. So I did went to Lacroix, and I didn't view the body, but I was close enough to him. And then I started, I just telling him, well, mommy is here and whatever, because in my heart and in my soul that I know I know him well enough to know how scared he would have been. And I know he's waiting for me to show my face so that he can leave, because he wouldn't leave until he see me. That's just how my brain works. And I know that I needed to go to him, but I just I couldn't look at him. Yeah, I just couldn't face him like being dead, you know? So when the second autopsy come out, that's when, in my opinion, that's when the investigation actually started. The police would have, start doing their groundwork and looking for evidence. That would have been like maybe a week and a half, or maybe almost 2 weeks gone, prior to his death. So they would start calling in his friends, or and then they didn't interview me until I think a little bit later on, because I guess they needed to give me time to kind of cope. So, but they would ask me questions like if I know of any of his friends during the interview that I had, and what information I can really give them to help them with the case. In my opinion, the questions were not of who he might know, but the question was more focused on they wanted to know who else were gay. That's how I felt. So I would have not said who was gay, but I would have said the friends that I would have known that he would have, because afterwards you experience certain things and you start learning, you're seeing the difference, and you start seeing that, okay, they had an issue with that particular person. That's yes, that reality start to show to you that, okay, just because he's a gay person, nobody give a shit. It just wasn't making any sense. For me, during that time, I started to not trust them because of certain interview I would have had with them, and then the way they would have deal with certain things. In that conversation that I had with them, they told me, what the autopsy would have said, and they asked me not to discuss it with anyone because of for the investigation. And by the time I was home, I didn't call my mom, I didn't discuss it with anybody more than who were there with me that day. By the time I was home, and we just sitting on the veranda and we're just talking about, well, who could have done that? And, I'm saying, okay, whosoever done that, he has to be somebody that he know, and he's not a complete stranger, blah, blah, blah. And then one of my friends was scrolling through, or one family member, somebody was scrolling through the Facebook, and they was like, but it's on Ride Along. And I was like, what? And it's like, how did Ride Along get that? How that information were all there? Because my mom, so then right away I had to take the phone and call my nephew and said, please go home to my mom, because this is on Facebook. And then I didn't tell her exactly what happened. And I don't want her to just see it on Facebook, because, I don't, I couldn't deal with another, like my mom getting a heart attack or something, because this really hit her hard. So, I'm still, trying to figure out, well, okay, if you tell me this, then I being obedient, and I doing what you ask. And then yet for all that information is out there before my family is knowing. So how did that person get that information? And they had the information, like they was basically reading the doctor's direct paper. I was very hurt by this, because it's like I'm saying it's my son, and it's like, okay, I cannot control what people put out there, but I think in a situation like that, it would have, like, certain things, like if you're going to keep it from me, or you're going to keep it from my family, then why is the broadcast or the news or somebody who do broadcasting would know and put it out there before me or before my family? Because this was like, delicate, very delicate stuff, and I wanted to discuss it with my family before anybody else knew.
They didn't even ask you for permission, basically.
So I don't know how they got the information, but they got it, and they had it crystal clear. So that made me a little bit angry. I remember that very sad day, I just left the yard and I walked out in the road, and I was just wishing a car could just hit me. And then I remember my husband and Tony would have been the two person that come and grab me out, and I was like, they were all talking, and I just get up and I just going, okay, I just want a car to just hit me, and I just go straight across. And I just remember the two of them shouting and just grabbing me off the street. During that time, it was hard. And I think, like the investigation team, I think they didn't get that, because one, they didn't like him because he was gay. So they have issues with him being gay and him being open and whatever. So he would have had dealt with a lot of shit from that South St. George police station. So and it's not all of them, because there was some of them in there that were okay and they were very sympathetic and stuff like that. And then there were some of them who just didn't give a shit. And I mean, and it's okay because I'm not looking for everybody to like him or love him, but then I'm looking at, okay, in your profession, you're here to protect and serve, and then you have a job to do, so you do it to the best of your ability. That's what I had issue with, because like, for example, if Jonty was not gay, I think this whole thing would have handled differently. If Jonty was the son of, let's say Jonty was the son of the person that owns Spice Inn, or somebody big in society, it would have handled differently. Or a white person, sorry, JD. It would have handled differently, you know. But they see him as a black man, and then they see, you know, it's like they don't see. So if he had come out as white as JD, then it would have been totally different.
Has there been any support from the community or the authorities?
When you say community, I don't, is there a community I mean, do Grenada have a community to deal with parents that like in this kind of thing? I don't think so. And if they do, I don't know where they are, you know? So when it comes to the police and the investigation team, and I have to say, I don't understand the way the criminal investigation team, I don't understand how their work is done, because there is a lot of things that they wouldn't share with me, but then I get to know on the news.
Right. So they wasn't supporting you at all then?
No, because I mean, it's like they would say to me, well, you know, like for example, I remember Uli and Richard would have mentioned to them, and part of the investigation, they was going to go in asking questions, and they would have said to them, well, why don't you guys reach out to his mom? And they was like, okay, well, she can call. She has a number, she can call. My husband would have called. I would have called. They're never available. They never answer the phone. So
we didn't get any support.
yeah, so it become to me, okay, then what's the point am I calling? I am going through something here and I'm looking for answers.
From the
And
police.
then I would call you and then you wouldn't answer your phone. Or then if you do answer your phone, then you tell me you have nothing we have no leads, or we have nothing
Then it would show up on social media.
tell you. But then I would see things on social media. I felt that in some areas the investigation team that dealt with me, I find in some areas they were very unprofessional. So no, I didn't feel like there was any support from the community or even the authorities, because you know, it was a big joke for them, I find, basically, when you review some of the things that went down and how it went down. So yeah.
Have you been going to a grief counselor or therapist?
I have had a few counseling and therapy. So Kaio would have been the one to introduce me to a lot of counseling or therapy, sorry, that would have helped and which did help. And then Yvette would have also had a counselor that I work with. Then Akasha's and Anessa would have also have a counselor that I also work with.
And are you still going to the counseling?
Yeah, it's something that I want to continue, because for me, it's really helped me through this time, especially with because my brain sometimes feels so foggy that present moment doesn't feel clear. So when I do have a session, it does help me. For example, even if I go to yoga, which I had with you last time, I really did enjoy that, and that, you know, it helped me to sleep well and all of these things. So I will like to continue counseling, therapy, whatever that would help me cope with it, because it's something that is still like, there are days it just come on as though it just happened, you know. So I would never gonna forget him, and I never want to forget him, but I do want to not feel so much pain, you know, and so much emptiness. So yeah.
With time, it heals anything. What are some ways you are keeping Jonty's memory alive?
By doing this today, and this today is very important to me, because I feel it's a start of me healing and moving on. But at the same time, I want to carry him as though he's on my back 24/7. So I would post him up on my social media pages, and then we have so many mark days, like you know, like my Valentine, my birthday, you know. So it's like all these days is things that he would do, you know,
Celebrate with
celebrate with me. So whenever those time come around, it becomes very harder, like his birthday, my birthday, Valentine, Jade birthday. So many things throughout our life would come up, and it would crush me. But at the same time, because I'm thinking, oh, if he was here, we would have done this. And then whenever I do something and he's not here, you feel really down and really empty. So to celebrate his memory, I would post him all the time, and I would, this day on, I would like to do more interviews like this, talk about him more, talk about like just talk about him more, because he was robbed from his life. And he would have, I have the future, I know what the future holds, but at least I saw what he had, and the potential that he had, and where he was going, and then somebody decided to stop that for him. So I feel like now I have to live for him. And I could never be as talented and as brilliant as he was, but I can do so by speaking of him, always being brave for him, not afraid to talk about him, not afraid to post him. And because he was so true to himself, he was so true to himself. So he deserved that.
In what meaningful ways can others support you during this time?
I would say his memory, like doing things that he would have done. For example, if you and him were really close friends and you guys used to have a moment together, the things that you guys would have done together, like I don't know, a fun thing, maybe a hiking or whatever. I would like to do things with the people who he had shared his life, close bond with. That they had a fun thing going on, and I would like to be part of that, and that would really help, because it's kind of like see what his life was like without his mom, and I would like to be a part of it, because from now on, like as now on goes on, the things that I would like to do to help me, even though I want to do my own thing for myself, but I also want to do things that reminds me of him all the time with other people. Other people would have shared a lovely moment with him. I would like to do that. So if there is any of his friends out there that think, okay, me and Jonty went on a hike or a pool day or a party or whatever, and we had a really good time, and Jonty had loved doing this, blah, 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 hook me up. I'll be happy to do it with you once yeah.
Many people judge Jonty based on his sexual orientation and fail to see him as the vibrant young man that he was. What do you want the world to understand about Jonty as a person, beyond the labels and prejudices?
So Jonty was a openly gay guy who I was very, very proud of, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But a lot of people just see a gay guy and they don't see he was a son, he was a brother, he was a friend. They just see a gay guy. And a lot of the people that say so much bad things about him, they don't even know him. They just see him on social media and saying that he's gay, and then they crucify him and as though, well, they know him, but they don't know him, because he was a loving son, loving son. He was never any trouble, like, even, he wasn't a troublemaker. He wasn't a person that breaks the law, like, he never used to get in, if I'm ever since he a kid, he never used to get into any trouble. So, of course, as parents, you always have, we weren't perfect. We had fights, we had disagreements. And when I say fight, I don't mean like physically. I just mean we just have quarrel, for those of you who see fight as being physical. So we would have quarrels, we would have disagreement, but he was a child that even if he wrong or right when it comes to me, he would always apologize. Even if he walk out the door and he think, oh God, I hate my mom is the worst person in the world. By the time he reached down the road and he cooled down, he would call, Mom, I'm sorry for being that way, and I'm sorry for, I love you. And he would never call the phone and speak to me and not end his conversation with I love you, mommy. He always would say how much he loves. And then he was very dedicated to his brother. His brother Jade, he was so protective of his brother. And then he has to have a good reason why he would be so protective of his brother. If his brother was a terrible person, like people would have, painted him to be, for being an autistic boy, he would not have gathered that. So even with me, just like, I can't say anything with Jonty's concern, because he would stand, he ready to defend his brother. Mommy, stop talking about my brother. Leave my brother alone, blah, 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 blah. So the two of them, it used to be like, if there is any fight like quarrel in the house, it would have been the two against me. So Jonty was a very loving child. As I said, I never had any issues with him, especially growing up as a child. And when I would say that Jonty become hard headed is when he was a teenager, basically, because he wants to explore and do his thing. And I was a very strict mom, unfortunately. I grew up old fashioned, and I stuck with old fashioned, and I like it. So he was learned discipline. He was a very respectful young man. He was spontaneous, but very open and accepting. Like, he accept you for who you are. He never, he was not a judgmental person. I was his first love, I would say, and last love. So even though he was in love with, he was in love with a guy, but I was his everything, and he was mine, because that child would make me feel so good that I didn't need anybody else approval to say, well, I put something on and I step out the door, and I put something. Most of the time, most of the times, like, I have to go out, he's the one that would dress me, basically. He would say, okay, mom, this look good, that don't look good, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then he always have the most loving, sweetest compliments. And I mean, even like after his passing, and I get, he would say all those like nice things to me, but after he died, and people would come up to me and say, those who knew him would come up to me and say, Jonty speaks so much about you, and your mother was his wall. And I was like, you still find me going, oh my God, really? This child was like, because it's like he just seen his world. Yeah, he just seen, his mother was his everything, and he was my everything, because he would have grown up in a household with a lot of love. So he would have seen his dad, my husband, would bring flowers and chocolate. My husband would always attend to my needs, and my husband was very loving and delicate. So he would have grown up and seen that. And then I was a very protective mom as well, but also very, I think I was a little bit too strict. And then my kids, I think they grew up in a way that they were like really, really much pampered, because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. So it's like I had to do everything for them, and everything was done for them. And I remember when Jonty was going to school, and I would prepare him lunch. And then there are days he would say, Mom, you have to make an extra lunch for a friend of his, because this friend had some in my lunch and they like it. So then I have to pack an extra lunch. And so he was kind, giving, loving, and oh my, so many beautiful things I can say about him. But it's also that I want people to understand that, who he was, and then what I would have lost, So him being gone is like I lost part of me. And even though I have his brother Jade to focus on, but it's hard to do so, because Jonty was like my really rock. He was like my husband if my husband is not there. So it's like I had my whole life planned out. If I get sick and I don't have to worry, he's going to take care of me. He was the one to do it, because during his time in life, and something happened to me, and I would call, Jonty, my hand's swollen, or Jonty, I hurt my back. He would be there. He was not afraid to help me put my underwear on. He was not afraid to give me a shower if I couldn't take the shower. The only thing he would say, not touching down there. But he was not afraid. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No, it's okay.
But he was not afraid to, and I was very open with my kids. Losing him is like, I feel it's like, okay, we don't know what the future will, but as parents, we always place in our head, who's the kid going to look after us, and who's, going to, when we get old, if, I mean, I don't know, but when, so you plan these things in your head. And no, I don't have this child to look after me. So I guess I have to depend on one of my nieces or one of them. And I don't know if they would do it, because they don't bother with me anymore. But he's lost. That's why I felt like I didn't want to leave, because I felt like, my future was taken away. My life was taken away, like I lose. My heart feels so empty. It's like I feel like I don't have one anymore. And I have to rebuild it to put that love and challenge, back towards Jade. And it's,
And yourself as well.
well, yeah, but it's like it's like I don't matter, because I don't feel like I matter. But I know the people that stand with me, the people that show me love, I know that I have to live for them and matter for them, because then all that they do and all the love and stuff they put into me,
And
then
you
it
need
will
to
go into
live because
waste.
you need to live like
So many
Jonty's memory.
reasons.
There's so many
Yeah,
reasons. There's
yeah,
so many
yeah,
reasons.
yeah. But it's tough, and I didn't, sometimes I always like I you go around and you see children are so rude and so disrespectful to their parents, and they're so mean, and they have no love for the parents. And I didn't have that. I had a child who was so loving. He would make me breakfast. He would, he was just
Wow.
he
He was a beautiful soul, man.
very beautiful
Honestly.
soul,
Yeah.
very beautiful
Because
soul.
unconditional love, like, not a lot of people have unconditional love because it's like you're given freely and you're given effortlessly. You don't have to think about it. So the fact that he did that for you, it was genuinely a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
It was. What's your favorite memory of Jonty?
My favorite memory. Oh my goodness. I have so many good memories with him, his walk. I always used to make fun of his walk, and he had this way he would always call out to me. So in my head sometimes it's like I might be somewhere and I just find like I hear, like him shouting, "Mommy!" And so it's like when I think of those things, it really make me smile. I have so much freaking memory of this child, and I don't know if I have a favorite. It's just like all of them. It's like I can't think of like one particular one and say that's my favorite memory with him, because there is so much. Because it's like he was a child that I admire, and I just like, I don't know the word is like, I was just overwhelmed with him. So it's like
In a good way, though.
yeah, he would get me mad, but at the end of the day, it's like you get mad, and then how long you can get mad for. So I mean, there are days he was a pain in the ass, yes, but it's like I trying to think what would have been my favorite memory. Maybe somebody else might have their favorite memory with him. But
share it in the
yeah, but it's like I have like so many. It's like I can't.
There's too much to choose from.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I can't pinpoint one, but then because there is like just too much.
What do you think Jonty valued most in life?
A few things, but I would say himself, because he loved himself. It's like his appearance and all of that was very much important to him. So his face, oh my God, he used to describe it as that's the face of the universe. This face is gonna do great things. So himself, and he was very dedicated to his music. He loved what he's doing, his career, because he really wanted to make it and be a celebrity from ever since he was a little kid. Mom, I'm going to be a star. And he was my star. And I from ever since he was a kid, I always used to tell him, you are the light in the family, so you're just gonna shine. So yeah, he valued himself a lot. I mean, he valued his family as well, but he come first. Jonty was the person that, okay, I come first. Love was something that he was within him, and then he's just sprinkled it like little fairy dust there. That's the word. That's the word. Yeah.
What lessons did you learn from Jonty?
I don't have a low self-esteem, but I am a person that I'm not very.
You're not like outgoing.
No, I'm not an outgoing person. So I would have learned to be more outgoing. I would have learned from him to live, like, because life is for living and not just, whatever.
Conforming.
Yeah, so he was a person I would learn from, is like, hey mom, just live, be spontaneous, be brave. I mean, I'm brave in certain ways, but like his bravery was like, I would take on whatever I have to take on to get where I have to go, and that was very significant for him, in for me to see in him that I would stop at nothing to, if the mountain I have to climb, I would climb it, no matter what's the obstacle in the way. So he was brave when it comes to those things. So I would want to be as brave as him in some of these ways, because sometimes I just let a lot of things slide and I just ignore it and I just thought, okay, well, whatever. And no, he wasn't that. He was like, okay, this is up the door. Like I am a person is like what people say about me don't matter. Like I don't care because you don't know me. So I don't let what people say deprive me or like and then I would teach them this sort of thing. So I think that would have been one of the reasons why he would have been so brave to be so open about his lifestyle. And then knowing that he was accepted by his mom and he had the love and support from his family. So, but on top of that, Jonty was just a spontaneous guy. He was very brave in the sense of when it comes to public and stuff like that. So, I remember he was just like 5 years, I think, when we got married, and then he just like take the mic and he say, "I just want to say I love my mom and dad," and he was like, I was like, oh my god, I wish I could be brave like him. Whereas you wouldn't get me to give a speech and stuff like that because I get I'm not good at those things. So this, and then after his passing, I remember there was a period of time in my life, and I'm saying, oh my god, I wish you could just come in me and break that like part of me and let me be brave like you. Like you just would stand out in a crowd and speak and say what you have to say, and that's it.
And don't care.
Yeah, but then I care about people feelings more than so then if I have to say something, I will not say it because I care how that person would feel or what I say would make that person feel. So that's something I break since he's passing, because I thought, because of the backlash that some of the people in the community would have given after his death, that sort of like build me or make me a bit tougher and don't care. Because mind you, as well as he have people that would have say so much bad things about him, then he have people that would that love him and knew him for who he was. So does that answer your question?
It does. So, Lyndra, I noticed that Jonty's latest album, Rebel, is no longer available on Spotify, although it was there a few months ago. It's evident that his music is only now accessible on paid platforms like Apple Music and the records label page on Instagram, which is M2 Productions Music, where the album is currently being sold for $9.99 and individual songs are being sold for 99 cents. Given that you don't have access to his music and you're not receiving any profits from these sales, could you shed some light on why his album was removed from free platforms and where the revenue for these sales are going?
I don't know much about Jonty's music or record deal or anything like that, but all I know is that he did his music with a team of people from Barbados. So I don't have much information on that, because honestly I didn't think that this is something I have to deal with. So he was doing his thing and I was just supporting. But the one thing he would do every time he make one, he would like he make a music, he would send me a voice clip of it, and then so when his album was out, he said he'd let me know the album is being out, and then we there was a night we listened to the whole album and so on. So this is something that I would have to find out. And no, I don't like that I can't. I honestly don't like that I can't access his music. I mean, that's not cool, because he's not here. And then when he was alive, I could have accessed it. Up to recently, I could have accessed it on Spotify because I always play his music, and then certain things I might post, I want to post his music, because basically he was advertising it. So I don't want his music to die because he died. I want his music to continue. I want it to flourish because he has very good talent, and he has some very good music.
That's his legacy, the
And
album.
there are songs in his album that really dedicated to me after he passes. Like he touched me. The words, when you listen to the words of it, especially the one Javid the one where he say now I go to sleep alone wishing you were here to hold. There are some of his music that means so much to me, and I like listening to them. So the fact that I can't do it now, it's not nice to me. But then again, I don't know what arrangement he would have made, what contract he would have signed. So this is things that I would have to find out.
This agency, they are receiving money off of his album. So it's like you as his mother, you're supposed to be entitled to some of that money.
Right.
So, I'm just questioning, where is the money going?
So I have no idea. I have no information on his music.
Or even the fact as well that his music is on paid platforms, but it should also be on free platforms like YouTube, so everybody can have access to this music. So I would love for you to find that out and maybe get in contact with the agency to figure out how you can get his music on YouTube and free, so everybody can listen to it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I know BBC Beach holds a special place in your heart, but is it difficult to go back there?
It is, because that's the memory of what I had before he died seems to vanish, and then I only have the memory of him dying there. So it's hard for me to, I don't know if I'll ever go to that beach again, unless it's for some occasion where I go to do something in his honor.
Like today.
Like, yeah, so as he take the mark here, then I'm gonna do something for him. I try to block BBC off my mind, but I can't. It's like I can't. So no, I don't find it fun anymore, and I don't find it. Up to today, I cannot go in the beach, no beach at all. I cannot enter the water, because when I do view the ocean, I look at the ocean and then I see his body floating, my mind just like go the other way. And then to get in the water, I get really scared, because I think, okay, my son, even though he probably didn't die in the water, but
just the connection.
Yeah, the knowledge of him was being floated, and he was found floated. So my mind just go, oh, the beach is dirty with my son's body, and I just can't enter the water, because I don't feel strong enough to embrace that yet. So I think the most I ever did is put my foot in it. Jade loved the beach, and he always wanted to go to the beach. So I would always go by Grandaunt's beach there, but I would stay, and he do his thing, go in the water, but then I can't go in the water.
You're not ready for it yet.
And it's been a year gone. Well, I want to overcome that fear, because,
within your own time.
Yeah, but
within your own time. So what was his laugh like?
I don't know if I could do his laugh, but he had, I mean, should I say wed? I think he had a weird laugh. So he would always, his laugh is kind of like something that would come from I find he would come from his stomach. Like, he's like, like, I mean, he doesn't sound like him, but then, and then he has a way, sometimes when he laughs, he always like kind of put his hand in his ear and like kind of laugh away. But he had a kind of like,
boisterous.
Yeah, like a kind of loud laugh in a sense, like, he would open his mouth to laugh.
So it's like when he laughed, everybody laughed.
Yeah.
He had one of those laughs.
He was weird and funny at the same time.
That's the best. How has Jonty's passing changed your perspective on life?
It made me careless. It makes me it turned me into an angry person. It turned me into a person that happened to care less about everything. It just hurt so bad, and it just like it's like you go through every single day. So it's not a day go by that you don't feel that pain, you don't feel that emptiness, and you don't go through. It's like, why this have to happen to him? He didn't deserve this, Like you kind of compare other people and see people that really giving trouble and stressing people's life. Why are they still on earth? And then your good child that brings joy and help people and do good for people is not here. So it's like I have lost my faith in God, and that's something that I'm really trying to work on right now, because I cannot even pray, because every time I pray I get so emotional, and then I get angry, because it's like, okay, I've been praying for his protection, and then he wasn't protected, and then now I have to continue to pray to God and say what? So it's like my prayers feel meaningless to me. And the belief that I had in God and in church, and it all feel like it doesn't mean anything. It is hard. It is tiring. It is frustrating, because I have another son who needs my 24-hour care and attention. And then there are days I block him out, because there are days I forget I have to pick him up from school. And,
that's life for you right now.
That's just what my life is like right now.
Jonty's murderer was granted bail after being in jail for only 3 to 4 months. How did you react to hearing that the man who took your son's life was released on bail?
That was difficult. First of all, I was on work, and it was somebody messaged me with a news clip from, I think, Facebook or whatever. And of course, I didn't believe it because I thought, no, that could not be true. So what I did, I called prosecution to speak to the prosecutor. The prosecutor was not available. I asked the officer that I said, look, I heard this on the news, is it true? And then she said to me, yes, lawyer asked for bail and he was granted bail. I was like really upset. I was distraught. And it feels like it, for me, it was like, okay, it all happened all over again. What are they thinking? Haven't anybody thought about his mother, how his mother dealing with all of this? What his family, how his family gonna cope? How am I supposed to be okay with living among somebody that killed my son? I mean, did anybody thought maybe I probably would, I don't know, go insane or probably try to kill him myself? I don't know. It's like I just thought, how could they be so inconsiderate and selfish in other words of thinking of him first than me, because that's how it felt. It felt like, okay, well, we don't give a shit about your son, so we're just gonna set this guy free. And that's how it felt to me, that he has been set free. I said to her, what am I supposed to do now? And she said, well, the case is so and so day, so just go to court. And I thought, bloody hell. I mean, it's not that simple. I tried to get an appointment to discuss with the prosecutor. What does that mean? Why, and ask questions. Why did he get on bail? What was the meaning of all of that? And we in June, sorry, and I'm still waiting on that call back to get the appointment.
What message do you believe this sends to other families in Grenada seeking justice?
I think it's saying that the justice system here sucks. For what I have been seeing, the justice system basically works in the favor of the criminal. So that's why our country is becoming such a country with so many crimes. The system just stall. They just drag.
It's a broken system.
Yeah, and they just act like they don't give a shit. They don't behave as though they are human being and we all have to go through certain things. And they just act, I think they act as though they have the power, so they have the control. And I think this needs to change, because then, for example, cases drag on for too long, one, and then you have the law is make up that, okay, somebody can go out on bail if they don't have a criminal record, no matter if they kill somebody or whatever. So it's like the law is so technical in a way, and it's like, no matter, even if it's the truth, but if the law doesn't see that is the truth, then the truth becomes immiscible to the law. So it makes you. I mean, there are people. I think it makes if people really follow this up and they really get into it, it makes you feel like, okay, you can kill somebody and get away with it, and then that's not the message you want to send. Everybody gets so angry about a person being gay or get so involved in somebody's personal life, and then what's supposed to be the issue of the country, the things that you're supposed to stand for and step up on, nobody gives a shit. So then, if the law gonna design in that kind of way, who is gonna take the step to say, okay, this law need to change? We need to put some more pressure on the police so that they can find the evidence to convict the person when the time is right. And then the justice system needs to stop dragging things on so long
and putting things on the carpet.
Exactly, because it's like it's saying that, okay, if somebody kills somebody and then it takes 3 years. You have to call a weakness. What make you think a person going to remember that in 3 years' time? What make you think that person going to be alive in 3 years' time? So then, boom, that person gets free because the evidence is not there to prove that you did that. And I think this is a load of fucking crap. Of course, Grenada become a country with a lot of murderers because the justice system allow the police team allow them to just be free, because with my experience, it feels as though because of who you are, they're not interested in getting the right information that would tie you to the act that you commit. Yeah. They might think, okay, because I don't appear in court, and that's how our community look at things. Because I don't appear in court, I don't care. I don't have to be in court to say that I care about what happened to the person that killed my son. I'm not in court because it's just too freaking hard for me to deal with. And the process is like, I would lose a day work, one. I have to go through the emotion all over again as if I'm not going through enough already. And then two, nobody gives a shit. It's like,
What's the point?
What's the point? You're not doing this for me. You're doing this for your country. And that is how you make your country look bad, because you just throw things off behind your back. And every Grenadian should matter and it shouldn't be your status.
What changes do you believe need to occur within the Grenadian justice system to prevent other families from experiencing the same pain and injustice that you have endured?
I think Grenadians need to care a little bit more because I grew up with the country I knew when I was growing up is people who care about each other, who show a lot of love to each other and look into each other, like they carry each other pain and they try to help each other. But the community and the country that I have now, you have so less of it. You still have people who believe in the country and they believe in caring and loving, but the majority have become so selfish. So I think the change has to start with us as a people, one, and then we have to focus on what affects our country and not what somebody do with their personal life.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we go down on somebody for their personal life. What somebody personal life does have nothing to do with anybody's business. If you spread 10 panties on your line, that's not the neighbor's business.
Yes.
If a burglar man is coming through the community, that's the neighbor business. You see what I mean? So we focus on the wrong things. And I think what the persons, like maybe the prime minister that runs the country, and not just this present prime minister, but even been the prime ministers before, would have to have an attitude or towards the people of the country and not the fact that they want to win the election the next 5 years or the next election.
Or tourism.
Yeah, you should care more about your people and your country than you care about how long you run the country for and all of that. Because that's where it started. And then if you give the people the impression that everything is going to be fine by just passing on something to them or just solving the problem because they say I don't have a tin of corned beef and they give them a tin of corned beef, whatever, and then they think that's the problem solved. And you don't say, listen, if you need this, then you have to work towards it. Because then everybody become very dependent and then they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. And I'm saying that to say that, okay, it starts where you have the person that run the country and then you have the Royal Grenada Police Force. This is the main team of the country because this is the team that's supposed to keep the country in order. And then you have to, when you doing your job, you take an oath to protect and serve. You shouldn't have favors. You shouldn't have friends when it comes to that because your friends or your favors may get in the way of you doing your job. So it should just be, I am for this country and I am for the people. It don't matter who you are. When you break the law, you break the law. Especially if you break the law and kill somebody or steal somebody or deal with drugs or whatever the case may be, there is strict rules. I mean, I know a lot of people might say, well, okay, my son break the law by being gay, but he is a human being, and that's his personal life. You understand? And then that's a law that was created. That is not a law that puts an impact on the country. So they need to work on, the police force need to be more diligent with their job. They need to love their job. You go into the force and love it from the beginning to the end. You don't love it for the first 5 years and then you can't be bothered because then the people are going to become difficult, and then if you don't keep that in line, they're just going to become more difficult. Yeah. So then you have to have a good relationship with the people. You can't let the power get into your head and say, well, okay, my badge said that I control everything. You have to have the right attitude to know how to, and then the right attitude to approach people. Because if you don't approach people with the right attitude, then that's going to affect badly on you. And now you see so many things happening in this country, and it all boils down to how we address ourselves as people, how we carry ourselves as people. And I think that has to be a big thing to start. And then secondly, the justice system has a lot of changes to do in how they carry out the law. Things have to change as how things happen because you cannot have a case going on for like 3 and 4 years. I mean that is nonsense. That is nonsense. This needs to change. So I'm saying that the Grenadian people need to focus on what is important for your country
and not judge people.
And don't be so judgmental on people's personal life. Because do what is best for your country and your people
and yourself, and lead with love. But I also think that Christianity has a really big part to do with it, because even though being gay wasn't breaking the law, because that was Jonty's sexuality, but I feel like a lot of Grenadians' religion is Christianity, and you know, in the Bible it may say man shouldn't be with man, so it's like, because they are so judgmental about that, and they're leading with that hatred, I guess.
But sorry to cut you, but Christianity and the Christianity, yes, we claim that we have a Christian country. It only works when it's convenient for us, because none of us, we in the church from Sunday to Sunday, Monday to Monday, none of us carry every part of the Bible rules. None of us. So when we because we have this mentality to judge people too much, then everybody wants to, oh, the Bible says this and the Bible says. How many of you that actually going by what the Bible says and living by what the Bible says? So Christianity is, for me, it's just like, it's like a word, because nobody lives by it. And then it's like everybody just say things and they don't live by it. It's like they don't live by it. Because when you look at people today, you have people in the church every freaking Sunday, and they are the most unkind people. You know, I mean, you hear people speaking as, oh, well, I go to church and everybody drive, but nobody asks me for. People are not kind, and it still boils down to how you feel as a person and what you're willing to give up. And then, honestly, today, when I see Christianity, it makes you wonder if you want to be a Christian, because then you question if that is what God wants, because people put out so many hate. All Jonty wanted was to be a Grenadian. He was born here. He had the right to be a Grenadian. And he just wanted to be accepted for who he was, not just because he was gay, but be accepted for being a person, a human being. He had to go through so many hate, so many, physical abuse, mental, like bullying and all of these things. So the law is designed that, okay, it's not legal for two men or two women to be together. I also have a special need child who is autistic. The law has him as a retarded person. So do we as a country know what the word retarded means? So I have to fight for both kids right now, because I have a gay son and then I have a special needs son. And then none of them would have been accepted in the community that they live, because people don't understand what it's like to be a special need. They see you as a stupid. They see that people are you. They don't want to understand. Nobody accepted, because the law doesn't design to let it be accepted. So that if the law is designed in a certain way, of course the people are going to be a certain way, and of course you're going to have a lot of violence and dispute and whatever. So why is it that the law still the same way, since in my granny nene time? It's because we upgrade every day. We upgrade every day. We upgrade on our vehicle, we upgrade on our lifestyle, but yet for all the law remain the same. So the law needs to change, because people change, your life change, everything changes, and then as changes go, things need to change and need to happen, because it's only now people are being accepting and learning how to deal with special ed children. And any parent with a special ed child could contest to that. Some of the parents had to hide their kids because the world didn't know how to deal with them, just to protect them. And then my son is different. That's a part of being different. The community doesn't accept that because they don't know how to deal with it. So who is really teaching who here? And it's what are we learning for the future generation? Because when we are gone, what are we telling the children to come tomorrow? What are we leaving a place for them? Exactly. You have more gay children going to be born. You have more lesbian kids going to be born. You have more autistic and children going to be born. And then we're living in a country that people are dealing with so much mental illness, and we still don't understand what that freaking means. You know, I have mental breakdown because of the experience that I had to go through. Mental health is a real thing. It really is. So all these things, because of how we do things in the beginning, and we haven't changed. We change some things that suit us, but then if you don't suit us, we don't change it. All that is leading to more mental health illness, more sexual abuse, and all of this crap. So there's a lot of things that are going on in this country, and then everybody are putting a blind eye to the most important thing that should be done, and then you focus on what car this person buy, what dress they wear, whatever. The latest change people, change your concept of the way you see things. That's the only way you're gonna get change.
I'm in love with you right now. What are your hopes for the future in terms of justice for Jonty and the legacy you wish to leave in his honor?
For the sake of my country, yes, I would like to see him being convicted, lifetime in prison, no doubt about that he never gets to see the outside again. And let's hope the Lord do what they're supposed to do, that he gets lifetime and never to see the face of us again. So I'm saying that because it's like I'm not wishing anything for his family, but I guess his family gonna understand what it's like to lose, because I had to lose a son because he did what he did. And because he was selfish and he was obsessed. So there was no reason for what he did. But he did it anyway. So then why not face the consequence of your action? My son had to face the consequence of being openly gay. He faced it. Yeah. And then you kill him. And then it's like, for me, the justice system make me feel as though, okay, well, you had this big outside attention and everybody making a whole set of noise, in other words, for the case to be solved. So there we go. We have the power, so we're just going to set him free. The way that the system works and the way the system handles things, I am already hurting, so they can't hurt me anymore that I am hurting. But they're making the country look bad because of how they handle things, or how they deal with things, and how they do things. So it's time for justice. Justice, and then a time for upgrade, a time for change. You know what I mean? Yeah. Period. The legacy I want to leave in my son's honor is like I would like the generation to come to know who he was, and not just for being a gay person, but to understand, okay, that people are different. Everybody is not going to be the same. So don't let people tell you how to live your life and how you should be. God created you, and he created you in his own likeness and his image. The Bible said so too. So how we want to interpret that, that's up to us. But the Bible says a lot of things. The way we preach about the Bible says a lot of things. And then I have to say this again, because the way we treat people as a Christian country, we are not setting an example for the younger one, because the younger one would say, well, I don't want to go to church because that's how a church person acts, or that's what a church person do, or that's how people behave. They are not setting a good example for Christian world, because Christian world, you're not showing people that God loves everybody. You're showing people that God loves you. It's collective. And that's not what God is about. I mean, coming from me, who has been so broken and has lost so many faith, that's not what God is about. And if that is what God is about, then I don't want to serve God. Yeah. I don't want to be a believer of God, because what I am learning from Christians who speak about God is like they're saying God has selected to love who he wants to love. If you make a mistake or you live your life in a certain way, that is not for God. How do you know that? That even though the Bible said you're not living everything by the Bible. So set example that the children would be willing to come to church. Like when I was growing, everybody wants to go to church because church would have meant something different. No, it doesn't mean that. And I have to say that because the priest that did the service, that's like a lot of other priests probably wouldn't want to do that service. Right, and his thing was, he is a child of God. He is a child of this church. He was raised, baptized, do everything by the church. But the main point is he is a child of God. And that's why he said, I am doing this not because of but because this is a child of God, and this is you're not going to separate people because they are different. So if you want to do something, try to do it right. So don't separate ourselves when it comes to God, because say God like you and God don't like me. God like this person and God don't like. So it's like, okay, so then God don't like the poor because the rich keep getting richer and the poor remain poor. So then God don't like the poor. Basically, you can say that. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So I think we need to change how we send messages to, especially to our younger people, because we find the younger generation is falling away from church and falling away from the belief of God because it is too much. Like I find like they feel they are pressured and they are not accepted for who they are of their own person, because everybody needs to be their own person. They have to. I try to be you. Everybody are born in a certain way to do what they're supposed to do. My son was so gifted. I do not have the talent that he has. Yeah. You know what I mean? So stop preaching these things and send the message so that the young people the younger generation could come to fall more to Christ and less away from Christ. Because the way the message we send out, the way we carry out with the God this and the God that and the kids, and this is what the message that the younger generation is getting. What's the point I go into church? Or what's the point I want to know God?
They're not leading in love, and that's
no. And that's the legacy that I would like to carry on for my son. That don't matter who you are, what you may be, what trust that you are loved, and parents again need to instill in your children. Don't make a decision based on what you think society thinks about your child, because society is not the one who carry the child for 9 months.
Society doesn't care.
Exactly. Society is not the one that see that when that child's sick, and society is not the one that carry that child into the world for you. So you can think what society thinks in other words for you to embrace and love your child the way they are. And so it's like the legacy is like generation of kids, younger kids, be smart. Love your parents, be respectful to your parents, listen to your parents, but at the same time, parents, show your children that you are the person they can come to. No matter what they're going through, they'll be able to come to you.
Trust their parents,
Exactly. And then children in every time, whether they're struggling with learning themselves or whatever they might be going through, they always need somewhere to go. So make that place safe for them. So then we have less suicide, we have less mental health issues, and then we have
less anger,
and less situation, because it's like the community, the country is becoming so angry right now, and it's like you become in a way that you can't say anything to anybody because you figure, they're ready to lash out.
There's a lot of anger, there's progress.
And it's because of what we carry on. It's because of what we carry on.
You're not healing as a country. You're not healing as
exactly.
a country. And also as well, his music definitely.
Oh yes, he has some really, really good music. And I think there is a message in his music for people to learn something from. So there's a lot of things I want to do in his and it's like my life becomes not that I have to live for him because his life got short, and I want to see that people become more respectful to others and more accepting. You don't have to like, but you just have to understand that, okay, this is not my life, that's that person like that their choice. Because when you as a person make your choices, you want to be accepted for it.
Exactly.
So it goes both ways.
Not ridiculed.
It goes both ways. You can't just decide, well, okay, because you're gay or you're lesbian, I want nothing to do with you, or I don't like you and I can't stand you. No, you know nothing about that person. Because at the end of the day, you might buy a car, you might go to a restaurant, or you might travel, blah, blah, blah. You don't know if the person behind all of these things that you're doing in life could be lesbian or gay. Exactly. What are you, if you understand what I mean? So we all are human beings. And lesbian and gay people happen to be very talented, intelligent people and very successful people. Just very like regular people.
Very
exactly.
Loving. So yeah. Okay. What does it feel like to continue living your life without any justice for yourself?
Oh, that would be horrible. Because I think it would be hard, because there are times I feel like, okay, whatever the justice system decide, I'll be okay with it. And there are times I think, the decision of the justice system will just make me end up a mental case, maybe. I don't know. But it wouldn't be easy to deal with, but I'm afraid I don't know what it would do to me, because it would make me angry, and then anger leads to a lot of things, a place that I don't want to go. The justice system better just do it right then, because then, and then listen, the people who really love and care for Jonty gonna be angry, my family gonna be angry, so then they have a lot of angry people to deal with, one, and then they will have a lot of mental cases, I don't know, to deal with. So it's either they want to fix the country or they want to break the country.
Yeah.
So I guess it's all, the justice team have to sit down and decide, do they want to fix this country or do they want to make it worse? I mean, we deserve justice. He deserves justice because he never did anybody anything wrong. He didn't deserve to die like this, And then, they have to see that cold-blooded killer for who he is. He was a stalker. He was an obsessed guy. So they have to see him for who he is, and not just see him, okay, well, like a gay guy, kill a gay guy, and then he's like, I don't even know if I want to give him such a nice name as a gay guy, because he was somebody who hide himself. And okay, that was his choice. But you hide yourself, you choose to be with somebody who is open, you're obsessed with somebody who is open, and you expect that to be okay. And then when it didn't work out for you, you decide to kill that person. So, I mean, justice has to be solved. Yeah. You have to set an example.
What would you like to say to other families who have lost a child?
Death is a difficult thing. It depends on death hits you different for each individual. So you might lose an aunt or a grandmother. It depends on how close the person you know. Different people experience different things. I think when a mother loses a child, I believe it hit the same way. Even no matter how you see that child or how bad that child was or how good, I believe it hit the same way. So I believe we would feel that particular pain, and that pain does not go away. So if I have to give an advice to anybody that loses a son, I would say what you experiencing is okay. Don't try to not feel what you're feeling. Just let your body do its thing. Whatever you feel, just go with the flow, because that helps, you know. And I'm saying that because I'm saying of my experience, because my experience would have been where I would have lost myself. One, I become an alcoholic because drinking was helping me. So I tried to drink, I tried to work, and it still didn't help the pain. But what would ease it a bit is that I would visit the cemetery where he was laid to rest. And other people might see it as, okay, this person losing a mind. But no. And you know, to people in general, when you see people are going through grief, don't make fun of it. It's not an easy thing to go through. If you could reach out to them, reach out to them. If you could, sometimes it's just by saying, I'm so sorry for your loss, and a hug. You may not have to feel what they feel, but just a little thing just like support, that helps, you know? So going to the cemetery used to make me feel a little bit comforted, because I used to feel like, okay, I'm there with him. I used to lie down there, spend hours there, like, you know, just sit there and talk, walk my blanket and everything, and just, you know. So if you feel to do that, do that. Whatever you think gonna help, do that, and help yourself. And don't worry about what advice people are giving you, because they are not in your position. They are not feeling what you're feeling, you know. Because of what I would have gone through, I become a bit more accepting to another parent, or more understanding to another parent, or a person that lost somebody. Because I remember I was traveling. I remember traveling with on a bus the other day, and a young lady was crying, and I had no idea why she was crying. I don't know what her story was, but then I knew when I was going through that, because I'd be traveling on a bus, driving the car, and the tears would just come down. And I just hugged her, and I only did that to let her know that, okay, I know whatever it is, but I know what it feels like. So I saw her. And sometimes you don't have to be, because I don't know the young lady, and I felt just by hugging her and telling her, you know, I understand, or whatever, you know, whatever it is, that she felt a little bit better, you know, even though she may cry more, but it feels a bit. So just by you just recognizing that that person is in pain
and being kind.
It helps. Simple. It doesn't take a lot. It helps. So family, you know, like, just keep staying close to each other and loving on each other, being more, you know, supportive to each other, because you can lose more when you're lost, especially when you lost a child. Because I never lost a mother, I lost a grandmother, aunt, or uncle, whatever. But when you lose a child, if you don't have people to help you hold it together, the family would carry more loss, because the mother could get into a state of mind that she no wonder wants to be in this world. And if she doesn't have the strength to carry her past that part of depression, she's gonna die, and then more loss you're gonna have to deal with. So even though it seems as though it may seem as though the person is not responding to you, you know, like, for example, you might have a sister, and, you know, like, I have three sisters, and then my sister might be calling me all the time, and just like, and I might tell him whatever. Don't stop calling. Don't stop calling, because I am going through a phase that I don't feel like talking, but the fact that you're calling and you're checking up on me give me a reason to continue it with the next day. And then what would have happened with my family is that, because everybody hurt, like, Jonty death had such a strong impact on my family. Even though we go through that before, it sort of like separated everybody. And it's not like we had a problem, but everybody just kind of like disappeared, because we don't know how to deal with it. So then I become alone. And because my sister was grieving in Hawaii, my mother, blah, blah, you know, so I become alone. So then I didn't have them to hold on to or to comfort me or whatever. So it's, you know, but it's not an easy case for a mother to deal with. And the more support and love and empathy you can show to somebody when they lost a son, you are basically helping to heal that person and to help that person to become, you know, to live on and so on like that, because you do feel like your life is done. You do feel like it's the end of the world. So
The support and love.
yeah.
Justice has a peculiar way of finding its mark. And while it may not arrive today or tomorrow, I sincerely hope that Lyndra and Jonty experience it sooner rather than later. It's been a pleasure holding space with you, Lyndra. You're truly a courageous woman, and I have so much love and respect for you. Thank you for trusting me with your truth and for allowing me to bring it to my audience. Your strength and openness have been incredibly inspiring, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share your story.
Feeling so out of place in my space, and I needed you to hold me, baby. Yeah. And when I'm spinning around and around, and my feet touches the ground, and all I see is you.